Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we just come before you with thanksgiving for this beautiful day and for this beautiful town. In Jesus' name, we thank you, Father, for this board and everybody that's represented here. We thank you, Lord, we lift up Marilyn Workman to you, Father God, and ask that you be with them as they're in the hospital and just be with them and heal her body in Jesus' name. And we just thank you that this meeting be done decently in order, and we give you glory for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
roll call.
Bruce,
Here.
Steve, Michael,
Here.
Denise, here, Renee,
Here.
Craig.
Here. Approve minutes of April meeting.
I make the motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Motion by Mr. Neese.
This will be for the call meeting and the April meeting.
Second.
Bruce,
Yes.
Renee,
Yes.
Craig.
Yes. Approve April financial reports.
I approve the reports.
Motion by Renee. Second by Trey. All voted.
Bruce,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Denise. Yes.
Approve bills to be paid.
I did lay an addendum down today of what has come in. And since our meeting is so early in the month, I haven't received a lot of the statements that I normally get. I'll have to go ahead and pay those and list them retroactively next month. Because a lot of them don't come in until after this month.
Not disputing any of them. I just like, as far as where, like Amtech for the water department, what was that consist of?
Rebuild the motor here to the gun, or parts to the river.
All right.
The big ones on there, the Yates and Sons, well, hold on, the Highway Department 2670 where they put the 36-inch culvert in for us on South Lane. That's what that bill's for. The 2296 for Yates, that's the culvert that we had to buy.
Yeah.
The City Hall, Beth, there was a lien or something against the house on the very last house on Montgomery Road. They sold it at the courthouse steps.
No, they, 3 people, investors bought it.
Okay.
And it had a lien on it for a sewage issue several years ago. And it had been taken care of, but nobody ever went back and had the lien lifted. They were wanting to close on the house Monday. So I had to go in and do some research, and I found out what happened and went to the courthouse and did a release of lien on it. And that I had to pay cash for it because their debit card machine was down. So that's why I reimbursed myself for my mileage and the fee for the release.
I'm not sure what's the utility service.
That's the maintenance on the tanks that we pay each month. It's on a contract, but I just always list it just to make sure it gets
Is that always pretty much the same?
Yes, that's the same amount every month.
You have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Renee, second by Mr. Neese.
Bruce,
Yes, ma'am.
Michael,
Yes.
Craig.
Yes. All right. Old business, animals in the city limits. You sent out letters.
I have not, because nobody ever told me exactly who I'm sending letters to, and that kind of goes along with the dog ordinance and the sanitation violations. I need to know, I've got a whole stack, and Mr. Bill came in the other day and we looked through them. We've got several we've sent, but now what do we do when they don't comply? Because you give them 30 days to remove a car, or 30 days to clean up their yard, or whatever the violation is, the animals in the city limits, you give them time to remedy that, and then they don't. what is my next step? Once I get with Mr. Bill and he's telling me, yes, they didn't take care of this, do we go ahead and get the officers to cite them into court, or what is the
Well,
next
if
steps
they're
on
gonna
that?
do it, did we not talk about doing one warning?
Yep.
Do one warning,
Okay,
and have the police officer go cite the warning.
after it's not complied.
After it's not complied with, one warning, and then the next time it's fine.
I just need a copy of that specific ordinance.
Okay,
Like I said, we can issue a warning the first time and then sign it.
So we need to draw up an ordinance for that?
No,
No.
we'll use our
Okay.
ordinance we already got.
Just-
Right.
he just
Okay.
needs to-
Okay.
the code.
Oh, yeah. I thought maybe it had to be amended because you had to put the specifications in it or something.
It's already on there. Does it not have?
from what the attorney's office told me, just the fact that we have the ordinance that's built within it, but I can get them to research it more and make sure we don't need to pass an amendment to it that just states that.
It already has some animals already on there of what
Okay.
can and cannot be.
Okay.
And the vicious dog deal, that was
That's one thing we
that
need
was
to,
already in there.
we do need to, on the vicious dogs, maybe do some rewording on that because of the breeds that are listed. You know, you've got Chihuahuas that are vicious. I know that sounds funny, but you do.
I bet it's by more
And
songs
so I don't know if we need to maybe re-look at that and possibly add some breeds or any dog with vicious tendencies.
Right, that's
or-
what I say, because it doesn't matter what the breed is, period.
And also like with insurance, so I don't know whoever does our insurance, make sure that those are listed on that so that it covers the city, you know.
Okay, and I think on that, we probably would need to get it rewrote because the way that the permit is written now, there is no fee. They just come up and do the actual process, but if we do it the way that we discussed and having her go out and make sure they've got the insurance and the proper enclosures and all of that, then we would, to me, it seems like we would charge a fee. That way we can reimburse her for her time having to go back, because she may have to go back 3 times to check one residence to make sure that they're compliant. So where we can get started on it, I think we might need, I hated I wasn't here last month because that was something we had talked about.
What about if they don't pay the fine? What happens then?
Here it comes civil.
And then it's just turned over to the,
County.
If it becomes civil at that point, the city would have to sue.
Can you not cite them in a court and they'd have to pay all the court fees and the court fines?
Yeah, absolutely. But like general sessions, if they don't pay here, then you're not taking them to jail. So if it's something like that, it's going to turn into civil. Now, if we wanted to do it from Jump Street, anything to do with the animal, we could put every one of them in general sessions and not even worry about it because most of them are getting warnings anyway.
I think that's probably a good idea.
General sessions is they're gonna pay
Put some teeth in it there.
Yeah, because if we give them that pocketbook and they're faced with a misdemeanor.
Yes, yeah. And they should be responsible for every penny,
Not us.
not us.
So what we were talking about is doing like a $20 fee for the permit. $10 would go to her for each dog that she has to go out and do the checking up on, and then $10 for the city for the processing fees and the monitoring of it.
So you're saying that the person, if I have a pit, then I'm supposed to just come and register it and give you $20, so
then if
that
he goes
you
to the-
have. No, that's
If he goes and there's a dog that's not registered, then they would be given a citation because they haven't registered their vicious animal, and then they would have to go through the process after that. And that's something we can put on Facebook, but I feel like we would probably need to put that in rewrite the ordinance and put that in there so that it is enforceable. What you think?
Mm-hmm.
But what classifies it as vicious? Because I don't think they're supposed to be classified as vicious dogs until they bite someone and not.
There's certain breeds.
They're
There are
vicious,
breeds.
certain
vicious
breeds.
tendencies, but they're considered vicious
Yeah.
tendencies. Actually,
Pit bulls, Dobermans, Rottweilers, German Shepherds,
And like I say, any dog will be vicious, you know why.
it actually
But-
states.
but not limited to.
but not
Yeah.
limited to. Yes.
Is the
Here's
key there.
vicious dogs that insurance companies list, and you're not supposed to, they won't insure them if they know about it.
So if they have a dog and they have it locked in their fence, do they still have to register it?
Still have to register
As
it.
long as it's in the city.
Right.
limits, okay.
And then she would go over and make sure that, because they do have to have liability insurance to cover that dog. And then she would make sure that the enclosure is adequate and that they have the proper, everything that the state requires them to have to house a dog.
And then she would follow up, like, in
Yes.
a couple months, just go knock on their door.
The way the old ordinance is written is they have 30 days to comply. So within 30 days, if they don't have it, I go back in 30 days, and if it's not done, then, citations will.
But if it's done, then you don't have to go back to make sure they keep it up, right?
No,
And
not unless somebody complains.
well, once a year.
Once a year.
They're only good for a year.
I mean, the biggest thing is trying to figure out where they're at.
So do you
Protection
put
of the
an
city
ad?
worker. Yeah, we've done it. Yeah,
We
we've
have
done it.
put an ad already, haven't we?
I'm not sure, but we can put it on the Facebook page. We can put something, I can get the ordinance rewrote and we can do it in June, and then we would have to read it again in July. And then once that's read and passed the second time, then we can put it in the paper, put the outline, the requirements, and put it on Facebook. And then it would just be a case by case basis when they go, when she's called out to a residence and they haven't come and done it, then that's when you would enforce it.
You have
So
something.
another thing about general sessions is if there's an issue, if she gets bit or there's crazy expense, general sessions can actually get restitution in general sessions where in city court she can't issue a restitution. It's just a
just say the whole thing.
So the question I've got on these vicious dogs, we're talking about the ones in the city limits. Now, we've got cases where like reading meters out on rural route. I've been put back in the truck several times, dogs chasing me come back in the truck, me trying to read meters. Those are situations like that. I mean,
No, we've crossed that bridge a couple of years ago.
I love animals. I love them, but I've had a mace, shoot in the back. I mean, I'd rather mace the dog and get
Yeah.
chewed up.
So that has to be reported, and then she needs to go.
But if
Deal
it's
with
not in
that.
city
It's
limits,
in
it's
the
in
county.
county.
Oh, it's in the county. Oh.
We got one out.
Talk to the county people about that.
One out at Chief Ridge.
It's not in our jurisdiction.
If
Some of that bear
if that
spray.
dog is on its own property,
Hit 'em with
your
that bear
hands are
spray,
kind of
they'll
tied
keep going.
also.
But because they have city water, that's not an exception to that rule.
Probably not in the county,
Probably not.
just because we give them water.
The only thing
I
we
think
could write them for would be like a dog at large, which would be like if their dog went to the neighbor's house and done something. But if it's on their own property, the way it reads, they have to keep them on their own property.
The one that you're talking about, what we came up with on that one, because it happened several times at that residence that this dog was running after them. If we can't read the meter and they can't get out of the truck, then you estimate it and you send them a letter because they have to give us access to that meter.
Yeah, that's right. I remember
And then
that.
you enforce it that way, even if it means we get their phone number so Daryl can call when he's going to read that meter. But you have to enforce it that way if it's out in the county.
And that might be where we need to send a letter to them and just say, hey, if we can't read your meter, we're fixing to prorate it.
Yeah, those
And then-
two ones he's talking
Then
about.
we'll figure it out.
The address is there.
The difference is, there's a dog out there, they can't get that meter, they charge an extra fee on their water bill.
Is it the same one
Just got to take on.
that doesn't have a vicious dog at all, that would never chase anybody or bite anybody?
There's two of them.
I know exactly who it is. So, yeah, we'll send them a letter.
Bill? Notice you had your hand up?
I just wanted to revert back to the slow motion. There's nothing in there that says, like anywhere, you're not gonna get a warning before you get a citation. Now, somebody has, if you send them a letter and it's not done, that's kind of a work piece for the officer that goes out. Because he can actually go up and say, well, I'm supposed to come up here to give you a sanction in court for this that you didn't comply to, but talk to the board and they said they're gonna give you one chance to pay it off and give them like 15 days or whatever. Cut the time in half, give them another 15 days.
But, and another thing about the slum ordinance, I would rather not write a warning, I would rather just cite them in, because most of the time, she's gonna give them an opportunity again. So that would be a warning when they got there, and then at that time, it's documented in court, so the next one would definitely be a warning.
Yeah, I sent, like, I've got a couple that I've sent one letter, and then I sent a second letter, and it, in big letters at the top, it says final notice, and I sent them certified. So I have served proof of service. I keep all that way. If we do have to bring one into court, I've got proof where we sent letters and everything.
Bill, can I ask a question? On the slum ordinance, what is the definition? In other words, Denise might keep her house a certain way, and I might keep my house a certain way, but what is the definition of slum? Yes.
It has to be determined by the board, not me. But you know, some people have a few things laying around their place, and they got a little small yard, and it looks like they've got water up the wazoo. Somebody else got 3 acres, and theirs is spread all over 3 acres, so like they have much. You know, so how do you go about it, and who do you start on first? That's up to you guys to figure out. But you know, I go after the most egregious people first, and then just keep coming, and maybe some of them will get the hit to clean their yards up.
I think it's actually gonna be on the judge as far as witnesses. We would have, I'm sure we would have to take pictures to court and
Yes.
let the judge decide.
That's it.
Okay, so pictures would be.
You definitely need pictures.
Okay.
So we're good here.
Yes. I will get that, I'll get the vicious dog. That's the only one I think we really need to do some work on. Then I'll get with Dana Dean and see if we can get something, get the permit fees and all that in there, and then we'll put it on the agenda for June and July.
I do have a question. So with that, like the chickens and goats, are we gonna let those things in there?
The thing is, they can't run loose.
Because I've had some people call me and ask questions on it.
If they're pent up, if they're pent up, they're not bothering me if they're in your backyard if they're pent up. But if they come to my yard, we're gonna have a problem.
It's coming to burn.
Then they go drop
Go
the
ahead,
eggs.
Francis.
Don't need to drop the eggs.
Burn out of your yard.
Because you have like roosters and guineas that, you know,
And it's
are technically a disturbance because, you know, they're probably all hours of the day.
Well, of course that don't bother me, but I'm sure it bothers
And
people.
if the ordinance does read noise,
It does say
vermin,
Well, they-
smell.
A
all of
smell
that's
would be a
covered.
big deal.
Yeah.
And I thought that if you had any kind of bird situation, like chickens, ducks, anything like that, I thought if you had a pen, it needed a piece of
Top.
something on top of it so that they couldn't fly out.
That is
Even
what
though
it
they
is.
don't fly very high, they can fly over a fence.
It does read that way in the ordinance that they're supposed to have an enclosure over the top of the pen.
Okay, so that needs to be on the people that people are complaining about. Those specifications need to be met.
Yeah, that's already in orders. It just hadn't been.
All right.
So I guess whoever it is that we're talking about, y'all just need to call me and give me names and addresses and I can.
Jess was talking.
see what happens.
Jess was the one that brought it up. I don't know.
So y'all just want me to kind of like drive around and if I see them out.
I say who complained. If I complained that something's bothering me, then go to that person and see what's in compliance. But if it's not bothering anybody, you know, it bothers me just as bad that the alleys that they said 10 or 15 years ago were not putting limbs and stuff in because our trucks are not coming down the alleys to pick it up, yet they're piling it up so there's growth all around it, and it's a snake den. So that's as big a problem as a chicken to me. So whatever y'all want to do. I'm just saying. I don't like snakes, and that's an animal.
When that with the debris, just let me know where it's at, and we can get in touch with them as well and tell them that we'll be happy to pick it up if they put it at the curb, and if it's over a truckload, there is a fee. But I mean, we've had a couple people. They were cleaning. Was it Church Street, Donnie? They were cleaning one up on
This has
last
been there
year,
for years.
and they were putting it in the alley, and we had to move it up front so we could pick it up. I mean, if I know addresses, I can get anything sent out.
So new business. Discuss approval of offering AFLAC insurance to the employees. got the information.
I met with a representative from AFLAC a couple of weeks ago. Her name is Kirsten Kimball. And the only reason I wanted to get y'all's approval is it won't cost the city anything, but I will be using city accounts to put the money in a clearance account and actually pay the bills. They have hospital policies, they have accident, short-term disability, cancer policies, and critical care policies, and they're all pretty affordable. The hospital policy is $384 a week. The cancer policy starts at $9 a week for anybody that's interested in doing it. And these are great benefits to the employees. It's just for, if you're in the hospital, they send you X amount of dollars a day to cover your lost wages or whatever, any other expense that you might have.
So it's
outside of
just
your insurance.
individually up to the
Yes,
that
if
person.
they want to do it, and we would take the premiums out of their check, but the city's not matching anything. They're paying directly for it. I'm just using a clearance account to take money out of their check, put it in the account, and then send the check to AFLAC. So because I was going to be using city funds to do city accounts to do that, I did want to get y'all's approval to offer that to the employees.
Do
And
they
we
have
did
to be
get-
underwritten?
No, and we did, I don't know. I haven't really looked through everything. We also did start retirement this week. Everybody that wanted to participate turned in forms, and I've got them turned into nationwide, and they'll start coming out of their checks next week. And then we've got the 3% match that we offer. I think I had 5 employees turn in applications for that.
Well,
Good deal.
I would like to,
I can give this to you and let you look through it.
I wouldn't, because a lot of them, they have to be underwritten,
Okay.
so they can decline you.
They're good policy.
Oh, I know that.
I've got one too.
Yeah, if you can qualify medically, they can decline.
I was talking to Chief England about
Sorry,
You
I'm
know,
late. I've been
but
to this
if
way
you
on
have
my
only
shoulder,
roof
it's
chassis,
dislocated.
it's gonna be less premium.
Oh, man.
They can be portable. No underwriting if
Just a home phone?
if they enroll, do the open enrollment. So there's no medical questions or anything asked.
Yeah, you can take this with you if you want.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Chief's got something.
I was talking to Chief England about the PCRS. He said he didn't know for sure, but maybe we could look into it. I think they changed it where every employee doesn't have to accept it. And if that's the case, there's gonna be 4 of us, right, that has TCRS, several years.
Yeah, we talked about that. I asked
So
Ben
Tim's
about that the other day.
10 going into 17. Shane Hodges got quite a bit. I have quite a bit. Austin has quite a bit. So if we were able to get that without the rest of the city, I know they didn't want it, but if there was a possibility that we were able to continue the TCRS, that's going to go a long way keeping employees.
So he said they did change that rule, because I'll call him back tomorrow, and if they changed
He said
it.
he wasn't sure, but he was told.
Okay.
So I'd like to check.
I also want to check with them on the health insurance to see, because we pay a lot of money for health insurance every year, and I don't know if we can get a better plan, if we can get a better rate, if we can get something comparable at a better rate, but I would think with it being a state-funded plan, that we might be able to do something better than what we're doing for a commercial company.
City of Tippville got theirs, just like that. TCRS is the same thing that the prison's all got in it.
And like I said,
Yeah.
that's going to go a long way with us.
Okay.
That's
The
right.
TCRS is awesome. It's awesome.
Ma'am.
The TC, and they match, it's like a guarantee, yeah. So
And I checked with them, and at the time, the rep that called me back told me that if I wanted to do it and we adopted TCRS, every employee had to do it no matter what. And that was just something that some of the guys on the water department were not interested in. They were like, well, no, we don't want to do that. So nationwide is kind of voluntary, and that's why we went that route. But if they'll let us do it that way, it would be awesome.
awesome.
Okay, so on the discussion of the AFLAC, we're gonna table it, look further, or we're gonna motion, to have a motion?
we don't,
If y'all want to table it and let Miss Denise come and take a look at everything, because she's probably more versed on insurance than I am, and let her look over it and see if I have any questions I need to ask Kirsten. Then we can take a vote on it next month.
that's fine.
Okay, so we're gonna table that till next month. Discussion sanitation violations and how to proceed with those who did not comply. Well, we kinda got around about one deal, we talking about the vicious dogs and the slum ordinance. But yeah, we pretty much said what we need to do to get it. Something like that goes or something.
Steve didn't like, didn't close it.
I guess I didn't shut the door. My shoulder, so.
We pretty much talked about that, so we'll just move on. Discuss garbage rates. We're 21.70 now.
We're at 21.50 right now. They have not been raised in a couple of years, but our contract with Republic has a raise. They raise our rates every year. Solid waste, I looked today, Donnie and I were looking at some things, and if solid waste stays on the track that it's on, we're gonna lose money in solid waste this year. On the other hand, we normally raise water rates every year. I was told when I took over that that was mandatory, and I had checked with the state and impasse, and that is not mandatory. And we're sitting at almost $200,000 over what we projected to take in water revenue this year. That is a testament to Donnie and his crew, because they've gotten leaks fixed. They're reading the meters more accurately. They're going back and getting rereads. Jackie's real good about checking if one pops up and says that it's over. She'll send them back out. She'll contact the customer and tell them, hey, you've got something going on with your water. They're doing a really, really good job. And we are, like I said, almost $200,000 right now. We still have 2 months to go. So I feel like rather than raising what I recommended to Shane, instead of raising water rates and garbage, we have to raise garbage this year because we're losing money.
The water's fine.
The water's fine. I just, my proposal in doing the budget is to leave water as it is this year and take trash to $22.50.
And what is it now?
21. And Tip the Mill, I called them, their rates are 25. I don't think they need to go quite that high. But if we go to 22.50, I think that'll take up some of where we're. Plus, I'm also in an argument with the public right now over our billing because they're billing us more than what we're actually using. And they fixed it and gave us almost a $2,000 credit. And then I got the bill yesterday and it was back up to the original amount. So I've been back on the phone with them and they're promising me a result by Wednesday and a permanent result. So that's going to help some to get that rate back down where it's supposed to be. But that is what, as far as the budget is concerned, that's what I recommend is that we leave water and raise garbage.
Well, the big thing is, if we get this grant for these electric water meters, that's gonna free up some time, and we probably need to look at going back in the garbage business.
Only question cut $2, bro.
They've opened the landfill back up.
They open the landfill back up here.
You just have to push the numbers to see what makes sense. But before we was getting picked up two times a week.
And it was $17 a month.
So a lot less money. So the thing is, if we can get back to that, us put the money in our general fund instead of putting it in Republic's.
And we could have more than one. It didn't have to be their garbage can either. We could put
right on. And it's and there's some issues with this week. We had several people call, and apparently they've got dash cams on the truck. And we had several people call that their trash wasn't picked up, and you call Republic, and I had to complain about that because we would call dispatch and they would never call us back. So I called the territory supervisor. Now they're on top of it, but he said, I watched the camera and you're right, they drove right past 3 houses. But then if you talk to the driver, they'll tell you their trash wasn't out there. So it's just kind of like the service that we're getting, the billing issues. They charge us $16.34, I believe, for one can at a residence. If they have a second can, it's $6.14. Well, we've got about 25 people that have 2 cans. They're only charging us for 4 because they have those others in at the single can rate. So they're doubling up on us, on people with 2 cans. They're charging us the single can rate twice for that household. And it was like $855 a month that we were paying too much. Well, they gave me credit. I called him. I was like, I got it back. I was all excited.
We're not charging for them to have the extra thing?
We charge them $15, but Republic charges us $6.14. But on our bill, they were only charging 4 of them as second cans. They were doing the rest of them as a single can rate, which is $16. So for every second can, we were paying right at $10 more than what we should have been paying all this time. So I've been fighting back and forth with them, trying to get the bill straightened out for good. And that's where we're at right now. And he emailed me yesterday, Lance, our new supervisor, and he said I would have an answer by Wednesday, and they would have it at a set amount. And because all they did, they gave us that one good bill, and then they sent it right back up to the original rates.
So we have a motion to raise it to $22.50.
I have an ordinance we have to read, and we'll have to pass it tonight, and then we'll have to read it again in June, and that's what we'll do.
What are we paying them for per can now?
$16.34
$16.34?
for one can and $6.14 for the second can.
Well, we got to be making money off of it, then if we're charging.
Well, I mean, when you take into consideration all the other things that, I mean, we are, right now, when Donnie and I looked at it today, if it stays like it is and we're paying that inflated bill, because our bill is inflated almost $900 a month, and solid waste always just kind of barely breaks even, but because we're paying more than what we're supposed to pay, we're not taking that much money in, we're going to lose money this year.
We should be taking in $5 per can.
It's not working out that way because they're overcharging us.
But that's what I'm saying, their billing is what's got us messed up. That's why I said we need to look at going into business ourselves.
Especially if we get the water meters.
That truck they're using is so heavy, it's gonna be.
Tearing up the road.
It's already destroying.
Yeah, it's
the road.
already-
Yeah, it is.
It's what?
Turn the roads up, it's so big.
Yeah.
It's so heavy. I don't even want to pull up my cul-de-sac, I set them out at the corner. Yeah. They don't even have to come up in.
Since this thing is not making money off of it, they're only charging $16.
What we do with some of these cans, some of these people's got 2 cans instead of
What they charging.
There's not many people that have 2 cans, so is it that?
For the price charge for the second can, we raise this up.
an additional
No, we would leave that at $15.
which it only should be 6.
I mean, this is basically,
We gotta get the water fixed first.
Yeah.
this is basically, you've got a percentage in that contract that we have to raise it every year, and we've not been doing that, so this is just kind of plain
So I got that
text.
worked out. We got a part-time business.
Ours
We've ever
not
seen
really.
it.
I didn't know.
Yes, we have a 22.50 for the first one.
Regarding the water meter issue, if, you know, what's the update on that?
Hey, hold on, before we get all this, finish this right here first.
Okay, I'm sorry. Carry
You
on.
wanna go ahead and read the ordinance
Yeah,
and
read
take
the
a vote
ordinance.
on it? And-
Yes.
Go ahead
Okay,
and
all
read it.
right. Ordinance number 050825, an ordinance to increase the fee for the collection of solid waste. Whereas the City of Ridgely Charter in Section 17 gives the city the authority to grant franchises or make contracts for public utilities and public services, and whereas the City of Ridgely Board of Mayor and Aldermen seek to update the fee by increasing the fee for this service to $22.50 per customer. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Ridgely, Tennessee, that Section 1, the fee collected for solid waste pickup service will be increased to $22.50 effective July 1st, 2025. This ordinance shall take effect after its final passage, the welfare of the city demanding it.
We have a motion to pass the first reading.
I make a motion to pass the first reading.
I second it.
Motion by Bruce, second by Renee.
Steve?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Denise? Yes. Trey?
Yes.
All right, Bruce, what you got?
Well, it's just, you know, what the update was on the potential new water meters, what,
We met with Miss Jenny Gill today and opened the bid up for the sewer project, and she said, which it's all been sent in, so we're just waiting on the state to see what happens. And Mr. Tracy should be here, is it next month, Donnie? To put the 20 in for the pilot program?
Yeah.
No.
No,
I just told-
we put in, I ordered 20 here a while back, and we put in 10 of those, I think. But we just been pretty much putting them where we need them, you know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we put these next 20 wherever, we can put them wherever y'all want.
well, I'll volunteer, they either put it at the house or the shop, you know, And don't put yourself in the bind if you need some for backups, by all means, but if you got one,
Yeah.
I guess to get a more accurate reading, just if you, whenever you have time, just put one at the
Well, that's
house.
what he recommended, putting them, putting them in board members' house, that way y'all could see the results from them,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be fine with that.
Even in the county with
Yeah.
city water, yeah, just so we could,
So y'all can see, and y'all will be able, I think there's a way with these that y'all will be able to look,
It's a help.
like on your phone, and look and see what your usage is, or it would tell you if you have a leak, or, I mean, they're really nice.
Come in handy. Then
Water
I have to find a plumber. I done got too old crippled, I'm just about to crawl under that house.
Chief Tubbs, got any updates or anything?
Yeah, so we've submitted the reimbursement forms. Looks like we're gonna be getting a little over 38,400 maybe. If you're wondering why we didn't get the full 43, is remember the original grant was for the LPRs, the license plate readers. We went in to get an amendment and they said we couldn't amend it, but what they could do was a 20% rule. So what that did, it took our supplies from 5,100 to 6,100, and it took our capital outlay from 38 down to 37. So between the vest and the firearms, that wiped out our supplies. So it's only so much that we could spend. What we needed to do was be able to spend the supplies, but we couldn't spend any more. So we were only able to get up to 37 on the vehicle. And after we got everything that we could possibly get for that vehicle, that's why it was the difference around 5,000-6,000 that we didn't spend, because it wouldn't allow us to do it. It needed to be in supplies, and they wouldn't let us do that. Starting in June, we have a fully staffed police department.
That's great.
Good to hear that.
First time in several years.
good deal.
Yeah, I heard someone talking, guy from Halls.
Yes, sir. We hired Matthew Copeland. He's actually, if anybody knows of a place to rent, he's actually trying to move here. And Shane Hodges is coming back to work here.
And that grant money will be back, they said, in a couple of weeks, so it'll be here by the end of the fiscal year. Is that correct?
Yes, they said that we should get that in our account within a couple of weeks after approval.
And we did get the USDA grant funds for the purchase of the truck and the trailer. It came in a couple weeks ago, so it's already, we've been reimbursed for every grant except for that one, and it should be in before the end of the year.
Donnie, you got anything?
Well, I talked to Mr. Kevin Harris about the grinder pump we were gonna put out there at the houses. He said he called and left a message with the state. We're just waiting on them to approve it. But I was gonna ask y'all, we talked about maybe hiring a couple people part-time during the summer. If that's something the board would be willing to do, we're stretched so thin right now, we've got leaks going, but we're trying to reg meters, and I mean, it's just so much that we're stretched thin. We could really use a couple people
How's the money?
part-time or something, if it could be done.
Faith, any extra money anywhere?
I'm looking, this is what Renee just said.
I hate to throw it
And
at
I
you,
don't think
but
she liked the look on my face.
Well, we talked about that, you know,
Yeah.
trying to couple guys, but the
Okay,
biggest deal is finding somebody that wants to work.
Well, we found one boy, Tristan, his name's Tristan, Schaefer, I don't know if you know Bobby.
Yeah, I know
But
Bobby.
he's a young boy, and they say he's a good worker, but he's working somewhere else right now, but he don't like it. And he's talking like he would come, and if the girl, everybody got anybody else in mind, it'd be nice to have a couple during the summer.
highways and streets, our target this month is about 86% is where we need to be on what we've spent out of the budget. Highways and streets is sitting at 77% of their, they've used 77% of their budgeted salary allowance. And water, let me get to it. These reports are so long. Solid waste comes first. And Solid waste, only has like $57,000 allotted to salaries, and that's always historically been half of your supervisor, which would be Donnie, half of his salary is paid out of solid waste. And Daryl was being paid out of solid waste, but when he was made the street supervisor, I moved him over to be paid out of the street so we would have a true picture of where we were at. So, sanitation is at 71%, so there is a little leeway there that we could use to pay at least one part-time employee. And then water is at 81%, so they're all just a little bit under their budget limits, so there's something that we could do. We just need to make sure we look at it when we do the new budget and make sure that we allot for that for like July and August.
And are y'all saying just part-time, just through the summer, or are you
That's what I
saying?
was
They probably
Yeah,
have lunch
that's
mowing
that's what's been talked about, like hiring maybe one or two during the summer when it was a lot going on.
Right.
What would you use them for?
Well, if we could train them just to pick up paper, read meters and do stuff like that, that'd free up Joe and them to go fix leaks, you know, do other things. And we've got people wanting new water runs to new places, and I mean, it's just a lot more going on. And they'd free up to be able to do some
So,
other things.
how many you got working for you, Daryl?
I got one for me.
You got one, and you already you got two in yourselves, and you wanna put another one with y'all?
Yeah, it'd be great to have somebody.
But it'd be more of a
I
floater than
can't
it
see
would.
doing that.
It'd be more of a floater than it would.
Do it all.
Yeah,
I think
they
so,
pretty
doing
much be doing everything, but I mean, like this week, Joe and John Lee both have been reading meters all week. And Daryl and them even helped with that some, trying to get free so we can go fix leaks and stuff. We've got probably 6 or 7 leaks going right now that we just can't get to. I mean, we just don't have, like right now, they're trying to get the meters read. And it would free up some time.
It also helps too, when you got a lot of rain, and there's some mud and wet flooded, and you can't read meters underwater, you can't, the grass stuff's wet, you can't cut, can't mow.
I see you can't take care of the streets and mow with just one man. You and one man can't handle that.
Right. No, we all try to help each other.
No, I mean, they all been working together. That's like the other day when they was down here putting this culvert in on North Main. Donnie was off on vacation when Joe called at 3:30 and said, look, we're going to work overtime. We got a leak out here on tank 2, which they did at a 2-inch. Somebody hit the flush plug or something.
Yeah.
So I told them to go out there and get it done. Well, they went out there within an hour, and they, all of them went out there, and all of them, when I got there, had mud from head to toe, but they got it done and, got back. So the biggest thing is, like you say, it would be a floater that not necessarily, because the street guy's been helping the water and the water's been helping the street all along, which is what we gotta do. But I see what they're saying. I mean, you take Daryl and Stoneburner. I mean, they've been trying to patch roads, potholes, they've been trying to do a lot of this and that, but I mean, they need some more help. I'm not saying the city's got the money to do it, but
We don't have, really.
but you got stuff that's been let go for so long that you're trying to catch back up because nobody's wanted to hire help. Nobody's wanted to have,
And I can tell you from patrolling, I mean, you see them all day long working.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta get the money from somewhere to
well, I
pay the
mean,
help.
the
and
water
that's gonna
is
be,
already
that's
showing a
gonna be from
$200,000 profit.
that'll be from the taxpayers.
I just have a question, a suggestion. Could we look at maybe getting a couple of high school or college kids that would work part-time?
I talked to the sheriff about a trustee.
We used to.
That could work while they're out of school, that, a lot of college kids like to work in the summertime to make extra money.
I agree.
How many months would it be, you think?
June, July, August, probably 4.
3 or 4 months.
Yeah, 3 or 4 months by August. I mean, you're on the tail end of it in August, sort of.
And what do you think we would pay them per hour?
Well, a full-time employee starts at 16, so I would probably recommend $13 or $14 an hour.
But you don't have, there's no benefits or nothing. It's all
Right,
with it.
right, because they're less.
Yeah.
And if it's 2 of them, that's gonna equal 1 salary, maybe.
And like I said,
But you get a lot more done.
we do have some play in here with the budget where we're under on salaries just a little bit, and this isn't taken into consideration this $200,000 we've made this year that it doesn't compute into this. So we've got this $200,000 surplus over here that, these guys have worked their butts off to get our water revenue up where it needs to be, and they need some help.
even if we could just train them to mow and weed eat and help Daryl that time, that would give everybody else time to go do something else. They wouldn't have to be trained in nothing major or nothing.
And plus we'll help happy citizens.
Yeah, like pick up paper, I mean, anything that can be done.
All the mowing that we do in weed, and like I've been doing this for a while, all the mowing that we do, time we get done with it 1 week, next week you start back over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you never call up, time you do that, I got a street sign, I got potholes, I got brush, I mean, all this stuff, cleaning out ditches, making stuff, all that falls on the street. Time you get one thing done, you pour off this and start on this, about 2 days behind on this, then you end up.
And then you have to take into consideration, we've got people calling City Hall all day long that are saying, I've got this going on, I need somebody from the city, or I've got this going on, or we've got something that we need them to do, so we're pulling Donnie off, we're pulling Joe off, and they're coming and helping us. Well, they had an 811 call today they had to go do, like, they get started on something and somebody's gotta pull away to go do something else. So we can keep people happy that are calling and complaining about different things.
Daryl, you got anything?
I'm good, man. It's coming along, we're gonna do what we do, we're trying to figure everything out, we do this, do that, trying to get caught up. Like I said, we're so far behind, so it just takes time to get caught up.
We're just moving slow.
Well, like I told y'all, I mean, whatever you do this first 6 months is not gonna be really noticeable, just because everything's gotta be caught up. But I do realize y'all are doing it.
During a rainy season, like yesterday, it rained, we sharpened blades on the lawnmower, serving equipment, get stuff done. We just staying busy, getting stuff done when we can.
Good deal. Citizens input, does anybody have? Yes, ma'am?
I wanna know what y'all are gonna try to do about the apartments behind me. Because
Joint Dartford housing that you called about?
I live on Sand Street and I hear gunshots and stuff all the time. And the cops are called back there for shooting, you know, there's kids out there. And if something doesn't get done, you know, everybody's shoulders when a child gets killed.
All 4 people that were involved in that shooting were arrested. I can't do much more than that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not saying it's not Darfur Housing Authority.
Yeah, well, so every call that we get over there that involves some type of narcotic issue or some type of domestic issue or fighting, we can submit a report to Ms. Worley with Dyersburg Housing, and she's actually called me several times asking for reports, and I submitted reports, and at that time people were evicted. Matter of fact, right behind, if you go to your west a little bit, the apartments behind those, I mean, had 3 people evicted right there.
I mean, it's not anything on y'all, I'm not saying.
Yes, ma'am, I'm not taking it that way,
But it's,
that's the process as far as Dyersburg Housing. If there's issues over there, I mean, they ask for a report, we give them a report. Like I said, there's been 3 families evicted over there. Actually, that area right there in Murdoch Circle it's calmed down quite a bit as far as where our calls are coming from.
I've been living there and that house for 12 years, it's been an ongoing thing.
I think the biggest thing too is you hadn't had a lot of patrolling presence in those areas.
I mean, even if it was something like with a solar farm,
Chief and I talked about that, seeing what we can do on that, just to, I don't know, deter whatever, just to, I don't know, make them think something's going on anyway.
Maybe you wanna talk with Dyersburg Housing and have them have their own, security.
No, that's not gonna happen. I tell you what will help the city is if down the road, like I said, this city's hurting right now financially, but we can get time where we can start putting street cameras up. That's gonna deter a lot of crime itself.
Yeah, I've thought about that very thing. The way we travel all across West Tennessee and other parts, I see these cameras in a lot of small towns on the utility poles and everything, Bolton, Rex and everything. And I thought and they're small like us. There's got to be some type of process or grant or whatever available for that. And, cause I don't know how those are, where they're monitored, or if they just are recording, then if it's an incident, then they go refer back to the camera, to the footage at that point. But cause you see them, like Halls has them, and they're manned just as small as we are pretty much on the police force, but they have them. So if there's an incident, I guess that's when they come back. But I will reach out. We do the city hall's work there and the police department there in Colorado. I'll reach out, I'll find out and what procedures. I thought about that.
There
What
are
do they call
grants.
I can talk to West Tennessee Planning. I met with the lady from West Tennessee Planning the other day,
Never have installed those.
and she asked me what our needs were, and I had sent text to all the department heads to come and sit in on the meeting. Everybody was tied up doing other stuff, but that was one of the things she asked me is what we needed, and I can email her tomorrow and tell her, hey, can you look at something for cameras? For our cameras.
Yeah, and that's another thing, we made mention, somebody broke into the dog pound. That would be another area right there for sure.
Mile Lane Park needs cameras.
They have them.
Yeah, and I don't know about mile lanes. I don't know if anybody's even addressed them or looked back on them or anything,
Is there cameras out there?
Yeah.
I'm
At
not
the
getting
park,
into
we put them in about 3 years
Can the
ago.
monitor, can the system be moved to the police
you have to get Wi-Fi out there.
There's cameras out there, Bruce said.
So we
The
can move
system
Wi-Fi
itself is
to
in the concession stand in there. There's just not a monitor. So if you want to go out there and look at something, you got to carry a TV or some kind of a computer monitor out there to check
So
it.
if we had Wi-Fi turned out there, he could take it to the
Yeah.
police department.
Well,
that way
it's
he can monitor it.
that's the
Can't
thing.
do that no more,
Well,
No,
cause he's the old.
well, conflict, but I can do it for free. Just don't build the city. But here's what, they thought about trying to do this when we put those in, is to, because you have to have internet out there. And you have to have a hardwired connection to that recorder. Well, it's hard to justify that recurring monthly charge just for that unless that's the park started expanding, you had more events, activities going on out there, whatever. I get that. And we looked at a wireless bridge leaving City Hall, going there, and put the trees and everything or obstructed the line of sight. And we also thought, it was, and these traffic cams that Jason talked about, I think that's more a suitable way to go if it's affordable.
Could they not, with those cameras out there, if there's a recorder out there, get one of them to put it on their phone where they can access it from their
I have
phone?
to have internet
You
to
have
do
to have
it.
internet to do it.
I know the day of the Easter egg hunt, we pulled up. And I don't know what we interrupted, but there was
I do.
there was some activity going on when we pulled up.
Yeah.
And they sat there for just a few minutes and then they took off.
Yeah.
But I mean, this was early, 10 o'clock in the morning.
We thought about, putting a wireless bridge off the tower at City Hall and go to the tower at the highway department and put
I
cameras
was
there.
really close to the car. She was closer to the car than I was.
That we could do.
Hey, if I could add to this, and this probably isn't very popular to say, but it also lets you know I don't care much about politics. You work in the courthouse, right? Ask the judge, if that shooting happens on his street, is that bond gonna be the same as it is when it happens in the project? So exactly. Maybe if we start making a difference right there, that'd help also.
Hey, I'd like to say, I got called out in the middle of the night last night, and I met a county and 2 city cops at like 2:30 in the morning. So they are definitely patrolling more now than what it used to be.
I see them every night.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
They keep an eye on Michael Pierce's out. What you got going on with Michael?
Hey, watching your hands.
Yeah.
We were here from the railroad guys the other day.
Oh, yeah, the railroad guys, we was talking to them back here, unloading railroad ties. That guy says, we get here, we're usually the first 2 every morning. He says, we were up in here the other day and there were 6 different police cars running here. So we do have some more better coverage than we did, so we do. But, we appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Truly do.
It's minimal.
Yeah, I see them, I said,
Sort of.
Anybody else?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Connie Conley, and I live on South Main.
Mhm.
And my concrete sidewalk is busted off. I hope nobody sees it being all wonky. What I wanna know is, do I need special permission to do that? Have that removed? Like each piece is in about 5 or 6 feet.
I seen that when I come in town.
Okay. So I'd like to know if I can either A, have it busted up better and removed and plant grass. And there are a lot of sidewalks in town that don't have sidewalks. They just, they're overgrown.
That's what they've done in the past. That's what they've done in the past. Everybody just took care of in front of their yard what they wanted.
Well, somebody said, well, I don't know if you can do that. Well,
I had a call yesterday from Nick Butler with the sports type deal, and we're gonna walk around the city. He said we were gonna walk, we're freaking ride. But to that, you know, it's a grant.
My driveway has a dip about from the street, where the street is grown, but my driveway is on
Right.
a ravine or ditch or whatever you want to call it. So my car, I drive a little Ford Fusion, but it drags the bumpers off of anything with a trailer hitch, just backing out or going out. And I don't know, I will need to find out if I can put a pipe there for the flow, which it's usually all messed up with.
We'll look,
trash and-
we'll look at that tomorrow and see. We'll look at it and see what before these.
I've had people complain about Papa, the mail
It's this far.
lady.
It's this
She
far,
has the,
from what it used to be,
Yeah.
and what the road is now.
Gotcha.
And
The
if you
street
pave
keeps
the road
growing.
another time or two, I'm
We'll be in a hole.
I'm marooned.
I understand.
I guess. But that's what
Well, Angie, did you get, I know that's.
We're trying, I mean, she and I's had a conversation, we talked
Okay.
the other day about the same thing.
What would
How
you
often
like
does
to
that
see?
happen?
pretty often.
What would you like to see different, other than them just shut departments down altogether?
I think people get out that don't belong there.
Which is gonna be on Dyersburg, which is gonna be Dyersburg housing.
Daddy's at, and they don't do a whole lot.
Have you called
I got
them?
three that's over my house, and I've been dealing with them for 2 years about it, and I still haven't done nothing.
I used to work at Dyersburg Housing, and the policy used to be, if it was a drug charge or a weapons charge, they give them 3 days to get out. They don't get the 30-day eviction in the court and all of that like you get for just not paying your rent. They kick them out immediately. So I don't know if that has changed or if.
Apartment next to me, there's somebody that lives in there every weekend. Different hair, different people.
It's the same kind of people, obviously, if it's the same problem.
Yeah, but I mean, the apartment next to me is rented by somebody, but there's always somebody different staying there every week.
Oh,
And it's always been that way, that apartment. But they need enforcers.
all right, have you told them that, about the different people? No, nothing.
And a lot of times they're not even in the office, from what I've heard. It's hard to
Do
get
they
in
have an
touch with
office
them.
here? They have a maintenance guy.
Yeah, they have a maintenance guy or two that come around to study it.
I think Dyersburg normally because their office is right there in the middle of the housing project. So I think they tend to police it a lot closer than these satellite areas, because they've got one in Friendship and New Bern and Dyersburg and Troy and here. And with the office being there, you've got 1 or 2 maintenance guys that come in and mow, and they're supposed to be doing the cleaning up, but nobody from the office ever follows behind to make sure that they're doing their due diligence, because it's off.
Right.
That's what I was talking about.
The elderly
Last
people
time.
live there, just elderly people in those apartments.
Whether you believe it or not, there's a lot of really good people that live
Yeah,
in those areas.
there is.
There's a lot of noise is coming from outside, and like I said, we pull people over, we make stops. I don't know if you guys saw Sand Street the other day, it was lit up for a while.
Oh, yes.
Miller Street the same way. we're doing the best we can.
Right,
I
right,
understand a lot of those people that live there, they're not asking for those problems either.
right.
But, you know, that's where they live. And
Right.
we try to, like I said, I had a lady tell me the other day, hey, we can let our kids outside and play now. Don't go anywhere. You know, we're all sitting there parked.
You know,
Just because we see what's going on. So we just get out the car and when we stand. And, you know, we have people approaching us and telling us, hey, man, don't leave. We appreciate you being here.
right,
But-
absolutely.
Hey, we do the best we can and it's still not good enough, just so you know, but I'm telling you.
Well, crime is real and it's everywhere, but, another thing, like, Sun Valley over here used to be just for elderly. Well, it's a new society though, and so many elderly have their grandkids living with them, they're raising them. So then now, the elderly can't even take their walker and go to the mailbox for tripping over bikes, and it was supposed to be just for the elderly to begin with. So our society's changing too, and.
Somebody's still pretty good.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, it's just not the way it was.
Deal with it every now and then, but for the most part, somebody's
They like you, Jason. Them little women like you.
Alright, anybody else? I want to back up on one thing on the part-time help. I mean, these guys need it, the city needs it. Miss Denise sat here and done art, right, pencil right quick, it's like $8,900 for two
For
people.
4 months.
For 4 months.
At $14 an hour.
We can cover that in the budget if we
So,
split
I
it
mean,
between
that's-
street and water.
That's not a lot of money, considering.
And that's $14 an hour.
That's
14 an
two
hour.
part-time, so that's 40 hours a week, split twice,
So
so
20 hours
and 20.
apiece. So you're talking about
Yeah.
hours each.
Yeah,
The return on investment would be good.
right.
But they just get caught up a little bit faster
Yeah.
than normal.
How much you gonna pay them on?
14.
14.
Really need to look into high school kids.
Yeah.
If we can find some.
Give
I
them
think
some good work
high
ethic
school or
going.
college kids would be great because they're always.
And they
there's not
don't mind the
really-
part-time, somebody's
Right.
gotta have bill money, they don't want
And
to
they're not gonna
settle.
mind getting let go in August because they're gonna be going back to school anyway,
Right.
so.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
I'll
Motion by Renee, second by Michael.
Bruce,
Yes, ma'am.
Steve,
No.
Denise,
Definitely.
Trey.
Yes.
Do we have any other business?
Did you go over that TLM thing? You already did that?
I just put that in there for
Oh,
y'all,
okay.
Yeah, that-
just so you could know where all the different projects on the grant stand. They
Yeah, we
send me
met with
that every
TLM
month.
today and opened the bid up, and the bid was still high, considering the project was like 890 something thousand,
894, I think, and it was supposed to need to be 570
something.
something.
So they're gonna go back to the drawing board, see what we can cut, and then we got some monies that, since we're not gonna do the pipe bursting, but we're gonna raise the manholes up out here. That's gonna help save right at $200,000 roughly, so we can move that money into where we need the 800.
That's a big difference.
That's still another, we should say 2 weeks, 3 weeks off before we open that
Yeah,
bid again.
and once they do that, then we may still have to trim a little bit off the water plant rehab, but there's some parts of it that Donnie said that they had included in the estimate, but it's stuff they can do. They were trying to get them to do it, but they
Right.
can do it. And he said that would be the part, if, in his opinion, that we would wanna trim off if we have to try to get it under that amount.
Any other business? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yep.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Renee, second by Mr. Neves.
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Uh,
All right.